right here. We're recording, ready to go. So I'm going to put this a little higher so I don't have to stand so far back and everyone can see me. So let's see if this is even better. Put you right here. Okay, so the first thing we're going to do is we're going to just go through our rotations. The rotations in themselves should be focused primarily on hip down and feet, right? If you want to kick your shoes off, you can do that as well. I'm going to do that. That's all, just shoes. So from here, we're slowly going to rotate to the right and to the left. But when we do this, feel like the torso isn't really going anywhere. Feel like everything you're going to do is right in the thighs on the pelvis. So as I'm rotating, I'm rotating this leg out and this leg in order for this to go this way. And it's just the pelvis. So literally, if I put my hands on my pelvis or my shoulders, I want to make sure that my torso, like this is just a gauge to make sure my torso isn't spinning a lot. It's just from your hips. And from your hips, you can feel what's happening at the knee. So you're going to trace that down to right knee, left knee. And as you trace that down to the knee, you're going to trace it down to the ankle to feel if one is bending a little more than the other. Are they the same? And then you're going to trace it down to the foot to feel if one is flattening and the other is arching. And then bring it back up to the knee. And then bring it back up to the hips. To feel how those thighs are spinning right in the hip. And if they're not spinning, right? Are they spinning or not spinning? So now, what we're going to do is, I'm going to go on your right foot with the left foot barely touching. And I want you to explore the same thing. And is it okay to do it, or is it too tough to do it? Because my other foot is on the ground. My left foot is touching the ground right now, and I want to make sure that you all can see that. My left foot's touching the ground. That's why I wear didn't wear white socks. I'm going to take my socks off too, because then you can see my feet a little better, the contrast. So I'm going to have my left foot barely touching the ground, and my right foot anchored so that I have some balance. I'm not really worrying about balance. And does my hip want to move, or does it feel like it's kind of stuck? It doesn't want to go anywhere. Does it feel just stuck, or does it feel stuck and painful? Right? And if we go through it, does it change or does it stay the same? So those are the things that I'm thinking about as I go through this and explore it. Now I'm going to take that to the other foot. Do the same thing. Just nice and slow. Bring it back to the middle. And back. Cross. And back. The opposite side. And then cross. So we're doing all this stuff with a straight leg, right? And that left leg is pretty straight, or the knee is pretty extended. Now, when we're doing this, and I like how, you guys are switching off between hands on the hips and hands on the shoulders. It's giving you different feedback to see what's all happening in the spine versus the hip. Now, if we do the same thing with both feet a little bit wider and the knees bent, you're going to have a whole different feeling, right? So we're going to try this just a little bit different. And now it's knees bent and rotate and feel what happens at the hips. And for me, it's tough going to my right. My left is pretty darn easy. There's a whole bunch of reasons why something could be limited. or something isn't feeling so good. There's a whole bunch of reasons why. Just have to key into how we're moving and how we're feeling and if it changes today, right? That's what we have control over today, and we're going to work on that today. Now what we're going to do is we're going to have the right foot forward and the left foot back. So this is going to be we're already in a rotated position. So it's a very similar thing to be here and already rotated, because that means that this foot's forward. So if I have this foot forward, it means that technically this would be middle and I'm already rotated in my right direction. So we're going to start by going away from the front foot. So either hands on the hips or hands on the shoulders, and go away from the front foot and then slowly back across towards the lead leg. And then again, away from the lead foot and then across towards the lead leg, feeling the hips move. It's a little different feel because the back leg can't spin that much, or it's in extended position, so it's tougher to spin. And just feeling the spin of the thighs into the hip socket. And as I'm doing this, I'm almost feeling like my feet are pulling together when I'm going to my right, and my feet are pushing apart when I'm going to my left, pulling together in order to go to my right, and pushing apart to go to my left. Now we're going to try the other side. Other foot forward. And it doesn't have to be a wide stance. It can be just a slight stance. I want whatever's comfortable, okay? So, again, we're going away from the lead foot to start by turning, by pushing away, and then going towards the lead foot by pulling the legs together and then pushing them apart and pulling them together. And what I mean by pulling them together, I mean front to back. Pushing them apart front to back and pulling them together front to back, pushing them apart front to back and pulling them together front to back to really feel those leg muscles help you with the rotation, push and pull together and push apart and pull together. Really good, really good. Nice. Now, from here, what we're going to look for is we're going to look for how our legs are going to be moving a little bit wider once again to make sure that the hip rotation is helping, right? So from here, as we go through, again, we're going to slowly rotate with the legs. Watch my legs. So I'm not turning here, I'm turning legs, and my knee's bending a little bit with this. I'm just going to work on one side. So I'm letting this knee come down and in a little bit and then back out. I just want to make sure it feels okay when I do that, right? Hip turn, hip turn, hip turn, and hip turn. Really good. Now we're going the opposite way. And hip turn, I ain't got much. Hip turn, hip turn, hip turn, hip turn, hip turn, hip turn, and hip turn. Awesome. Feet even wider, if you can, right? Bent knee. Feel like you're equal on both sides. Slowly turn. Slowly turn. Slowly turn. Slowly turn. And we're going the opposite way. And slowly turn. Slowly turn. slowly turn, and slowly turn. Awesome. So from here, we're going to go to the ground. We're going to see how all this feels on the ground. So we're going to start in a seated position to see how the legs are rotating. So the first one is spin the foot out, in, and in, out, and out, and out, and out, and out, and in. Try to feel like it's coming from the thigh and the hip, how it spins out and spins in rather than the foot. Trying to just push the foot out. Feel the whole hip just spin right in the socket. I'm sure you'll find one side moves probably a little easier than the other. If you need your hand to help you actually guide it to make it lighter, you can do that as well. Just feel how that hip is rotating in and out. Because what we're doing is we're basically seeing how this hip is controlled in this hip flexed or seated position, right, which is a little bit different than that standing position. Now we're going to see the other side. See how it spins out and in, and out, 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 and in. Okay, from here, I want you to put your foot on your thigh right here. Sit back with it. Let the leg drop and back up. Drop and back up. Where you can control it. If you want to lay all the way down for this, you can. Back up and drop. Back up. Control down. Back up. Control down. Back up. One more. Control down. And back up. Okay. Other foot. Control down. Well, that's all I got. Back up. That one's pretty glaring how limited. And it doesn't hurt. It's just stuck. So I got one thing, and it's changing as I'm going through this range. It's really changing. Okay. Now we're going to lay all the way down. We're going to do the same rotations that we just did. We're going to go through the rotation in and the rotation out. We'll do it facing this way so you can see everything. Rotate in, rotate out. See if it's any different than when you were seated. So all these rotations that we're doing when we started sitting down is what we're taking note of. Because it's the individual legs that we want to see if they can affect the whole body. Switch sides. Okay. Now we're going to do the same thing, but I want you to slowly move a leg out to the side. Now when you're doing this, put your hands on your hips to see if when you move it out, Is there a real definite end to it? I want to stay away from the very end. I want to be like in between about 3/4 of the way so that there's room for the hip to spin. So if I'm all the way out, it may be difficult to spin this thing in. And I want to be able to still spin in a little bit. So I'm going to bring it out about 3/4 of the way. So find the end and then bring it in a little bit so that you can just focus on spinning it there and see if it makes a difference. Let's see the other side. See if that feels okay and the quality of motion is there. Cool. Now we're going to do the same thing, but on your stomach. And the difference is I'm going to bend my knee to do this. Spin and spin. And switch it. Okay. Take the right leg out to the side a little bit and let's do the same thing. Spin, 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 spin. Spinning at the hip. Notice if it feels like it flows. Does it feel the same that it felt when you're on your back or when you were seated? Let's try the other side. Okay. Now you're going to take it to your side. When we take it to the side, we're going to do both in and out. So from here, I'm going to bend my knees. So I just want to feel how this leg rotates. Foot on top of foot. And it's spinning right at the hip and with my heel anchored on top of my heel. It's pretty tough. Now I'm going to anchor my knee on top of knee, and I'm going to spin the opposite way. Now, a lot of people have the propensity or they want to straighten their knee. Try to keep the knee bent so you're literally just relaxing the foot when you do this. Because either people want to straighten or bend the knee, or they want to turn the foot one way or another. So just try to lift from right on top of the thigh in the hip to make this happen. I like to keep my hand right on top of my thigh to make sure that that's exactly where I'm feeling it, and or right on top of this brim of the hip. I'm gonna switch sides. Foot on top of foot. This side is ridiculously easier. Now let's see the opposite way. That's pretty easy too. Okay. Now we've been through how your leg spins or your hip spins from your stomach, from your back, in a seated position, in a standing position, and on your sides. So what we're going to look for again, there was this pretty consistent limitation for me on my left hip. So every single time that I would try to do anything which required how my leg would want to go out, which is spinning this way, because my foot's going in, my thighs spinning out, I had trouble, right? So was it internal spinning or external spinning that you had trouble with, is what the Choose Your Own Adventure is going to be all about. Now, as we put this together, what we're going to do is something very, very simple, which is pretty cool, right? If you're having trouble with spinning in, start on your stomach. Actually, let's start on your stomach for if you have trouble in or out, right? Because this way, when we're starting out, we're controlling the limb going down, right? And controlling the limb going down is going to help us regain control over that hip, right? So make sure that it feels comfortable in the on your stomach position, that there's no cramping, that that you start to notice the quality of how you lower the leg, and you're actually going to make sure that when you come back up, it just feels pretty relaxed, right? So if you have trouble on your stomach, I recommend putting a pillow underneath your stomach for this one, right? So we're going to start by just doing some rotations from your stomach. So what it's going to look like for me, because I had trouble rotating in, or the thigh rotating out with my foot coming down on my left side, I'm going to drop the leg down slowly and then relax. Down slowly and then relax it. Down slowly and then relax it. Control down slowly and then relax it. Control down slowly and relax it. And I'm going to pause it right there because I want you to focus on one little thing. Is I want you to focus on how your hip, if it wants to come up off the ground when you're rotating your thigh. So monitor your hip on the side that is rotating so that you can see if your whole torso, you can pay attention if your whole torso is rotating, because that can happen if you're trying to have better control over the hip, right? Just so you're aware of it, right? So what I mean by that is if I'm here, you can see that my hip right here on the ground, if I lower it, my whole body wants to lean that way. Or if I go this way, my whole torso is turning the opposite direction. My pelvis is actually rotating. So when I'm bringing it down, only go where you feel like you can control it, and I use my other leg to help me back. Control it. I don't have a whole lot of range. You can see right off the bat, my whole hip wants to come up. And then I'm going to assist it up, control it down, and then slowly up, control it down, and then spin it up. One more, control it down, and then spin it up. Okay, now what I want you to do is we're going to find anything to shove with. We're going to shove with this leg from the stomach position in order to get a little bit of push. If you don't have something to shove with, you can use your other leg if it's rotating in. So because I'm right here, I'm literally just going to use my legs and try to lightly shove one leg into my other leg, very, very lightly, to see if I can get some of these hip muscles working nice and lightly. So my right leg is just an anchor, and my other leg wants to lightly shove into that leg. So seeing it from this direction, this is my anchor leg, and what I'm going to do is I'm just going to lightly take this leg and shove it into that leg with about 15% of my ability, and I'm going to relax it. Then I'm going to add 15% and relax it, and 15% and relax it, and 15% and relax it, and 15% and relax it, 15% relax it, 15% relax it, 15% relax it, 15% relax it. One more, 15% and relax it. So from here, what we're going to do is we're going to do the same idea, but now we're going to build it up. So now we're going to add some strength to it. So now that we know that, well, right off the bat, I have better hip motion from what I just did because I couldn't sit like this before. What we're going to do is we're going to then get to the same position, but now we're going to ramp up our isometrics. So from here, it's going to start at that 15%, and we're going to bring it up to 25%. Then we're going to bring it up to 50, 75, 90, and then 100%. So the side that you need practice on. So I'm going to do that, right? I'm going to work on that side. I'm going to do it from the side position so you can kind of see, again, what's happening through my hip and through my thigh. So from here, build it up to only about 25% by pushing the side that's difficult into the anchor side, and then let it relax. And when I let it relax, I slowly let off the gas instead of just dropping, right? And I just keep my feet in the same position. Now, again, I'm going to build it up this time to about 50% from the hip itself, and then slowly relax. And then we're going to build it up to 75%. Slowly try to squeeze that tough leg into the anchor leg, and slowly relax. And now take it into about 90%. Slowly build that up. And then slowly relax. Now here comes the tough one. You're going to give it all that you got slowly. You're going to slowly ramp it up to 100%. Slowly ramp it up, ramp it up, ramp it up. More, and slowly relax. We're going to do that one more time. Really feel that hip musculature working. And slowly ramp it, ramp it, ramp it, ramp it. More, and slowly relax. Okay. Now from here, see if your ability changed, just to see how it moves. And right now, my range feels a heck of a lot better. My pelvis can stay down a little bit better, which is nice too. I'm going to see that on my back as well. So if I had trouble rotating out, now when my foot is on my thigh, I have almost full range of motion, where before I was about here, almost all the way down, which is nice, right? Now they're pretty symmetrical. If I were to rotate my legs straight, they're pretty symmetrical. Now, because this was an external rotation, and the difficulty was my left leg, I'm going to roll onto my right hip because my left leg is on top and allows me to rotate, right? So from here, I'm going to try to bring this up. I'm just going to hold it and then relax it. Bring it up, hold it, and relax it. I'm going to bend the knee a little bit more because I feel like I'm pretty good at that right now. I'm going to try to find places where I'm not really as good at holding it or controlling it. And here I'm pretty poor at controlling it. So we're just going to get better here. Let it down. Bring it up and hold. Just light through that position. And that's tough to control. And then relax it. And again, up. That's about all I got right there. And relax it. I'm going to do that again. Bring it up. And relax it. And bring it up. And relax it. So my range right now is about right here. Now I'm going to challenge that with a little bit different strategy, and I want you to follow along with this. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to turn my leg up where I'm good, right? So this is a little bit easier. Now I'm going to slowly bend my knees and then lower my leg. Straighten a little bit, rotate out, bend my knees, and slowly lower. Down, rotate, bend, slowly lower. Bend, rotate, knee bend, slowly rotate, straighten, rotate, bend, slowly lower, bend, rotate, and slowly lower, rotate, knee bend, slowly lower, rotate, bend, slowly lower. Now, because of that rotation, look how much range I just got. I just doubled my range by just doing a light exercise, right? Which is pretty cool. So now it's the ability to be able to sift through ranges that are not okay and work through the lowering ability of these muscles to make sure that we systematically find these positions and we can do something about them, because seeing all of it together is okay if we had like an hour and a half to be able to go through a warm-up. But unfortunately, the body only has about 30 minutes to 40 minutes to really utilize these ideas so that it can become beneficial, especially in your prep process. So we want to make sure that your prep is right in that like 20 to 30 minute range so that we get the most out of it. So what I want you to do from here is I want you to explore with that. I want you to explore how the hip is rotating through the positions where we started with the standing, single leg and double leg to finish this off. And again, I'll take you through that real quick just to see how it feels. And if you need to go through another round of this to explore the seated rotations and the lying down rotations and on your side rotations, you can always replay this video because it comes in so handy if the hips aren't feeling that good, or the knee isn't feeling that good, or the back isn't feeling that good. This is a great tool because as in a choose your own adventure, we're all different. We all have stuff that we've been through. And this allows you to be able to sift through the stuff that's most important right now. How you move and the control and quality of that control of movement will help you feel better, okay? So let's stand back up and let's see how everything looks compared to where we were. We're just gonna go through the main ones, which is rotate through the pelvis. And by God, I think I'm rotating about twice as far. I haven't even turned my torso. Here's me with my torso turn. There's me torso turn. I think I've turned this much in a while, which is pretty cool. All from opening up and having better control over my left hip, right? So I'm not gonna push it. I'm gonna keep it very light and very simple. As soon as I start pushing it, I'm actually gonna start losing some of that range. So I just wanna feel control. I shouldn't have rotated all the way. So now we're going to take that to 1 foot, slowly spin in and out. And what I mean by in and out is that if I'm turning in, this leg is rotating in as my torso, or my hip pelvis is rotating out. So my hip is rotating out as my pelvis is rotating in. So because they're going in opposition, just feeling how that turn affects the system. And then we're going to try the other side. I'm going to put my right hand on my left hip, my other arms for balance as I slowly spin. Yep. So the going in is easy, going out, still a little tough, still a little challenging. So I think I got a little bit extra practice I'm going to have to go through in order to rotate my thigh out in order to spin to my right with my torso. So it's just gathering information to see how well you're moving. And I'm getting better at it too, so as I practice this. So as you're specifically using this for your lunges and squats and or hip abductions, especially Ashley, while you're going through your home program, this will become a very important tool to help with that. And I'll have, with all these upcoming ranges of motion, we're going to be exploring rotation, ab and adduction, which means leg go to the side. And then we're also going to go through hip flexion. And we're also going to see how the knees and feet go through this process too. So I'm going to be breaking those all down. And we're going to be rolling and rotating through that as we switch this all up. So I hope you guys enjoyed how this Choose Your Own Adventure is coming along in order to respond to the individualization for each and every one of you. So thank you guys for joining me today. Michael, I'll see you soon, man. Okay, I'm gonna send this back out to you. You guys have a good night.